Hello guys, and welcome to another MK Mobile character review, today featuring Assassin Skarlet. As usual guys, please note the date when this video has been recorded because a lot of things may have changed since then, and if you're not familiar with the matrix I'm using in order to evaluate characters, you can find it on the top right corner of the screen. Anyways, without any further ado, let us put Assassin Skarlet to the test. Assassin Skarlet guys was released on the 10th of January 2020, and as of today, the 15th of February, she is the most recent diamond introduced to MK Mobile. So let us check her stats. Her attack is 59,335, which is the 11th highest in the game. The hit points, they're 124,531 and they rank 6th. The toughness is 48,006, which is the 14th highest in the game, and the recovery is 51,030, the 8th highest overall. And the power generation is 110%. So for her stats, Assassin Skarlet gets 21.5 out of 28 possible points. Guys, have you ever played as or against MK11 Skarlet? I'm asking this question because Special 1 of Assassin Skarlet is almost identical to Special 1 of MK11 Skarlet with one minor difference, but we're going to get to that later. Anyways, Special 1 of Assassin Skarlet is called Blood Siphon, and what you need to know about it is that first, it can be completely blocked by the opponent, it has Bleed as debuff, it can be cast from distance even though the first mini hit might miss, but it is not a big deal. The special attack isn't lethal, and that's the main difference between MK11 Skarlet Special 1 and Assassin Skarlet Special 1. Because remember, in my MK11 Skarlet review, I mentioned that if the enemy is extremely low, you can somehow finish him off by using Special 1. However, in this current situation, you cannot do it at all. This special attack simply cannot kill an enemy. In addition, the ability has 4 mini attacks, and it has the multi-tap circle as minigame. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the special attack is 19,654, which is the 17th highest in the game, and the maximum damage is 31,444 and it ranks 39th. Once again, the special attack can be completely blocked by the opponent, it has Bleed as debuff, it can be cast from distance, it is not lethal, it consists of 4 mini attacks, and it has the multi-tap circle as minigame. So for her Special 1, Assassin Skarlet gets 8.1 out of 13 possible points. Oh my lord, we got to her Special 2. Guys, I didn't really want to get Assassin Skarlet, to be honest, at all, because of her Special 2. It literally makes me sick. It looks disgusting, it's repulsive, it's bad, I don't like how it looks at all. But this is not important. The important thing is what are the objective facts around it. So let's start with the fact that this special attack can be completely blocked by the opponent. It has Strength as buff, which is kind of disappointing, especially for Special 2. It can be cast from distance. It is lethal. It consists of 2 mini hits, even though at some occasions I believe it consists of 3 mini hits, but I didn't get it yet, so please let me know in the comments if you noticed that as well. The special attack again has the multi-tap circle as minigame, which is pretty good because this is, in my opinion, the best minigame in MK Mobile. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the ability is 49,132, which is the 14th highest in MK Mobile, and the maximum damage is 98,264, which is the 10th highest in the game. Once again, the special attack can be completely blocked by the opponent, it has Strength as buff, it can be cast from distance, it is lethal, it consists of 2 mini hits, and it has the multi-tap circle as minigame. So for her Special 2, Assassin Skarlet gets 11.9 out of 19 possible points. The fatal blow of Assassin's Skarlet, guys, is called Bloody Fun, and no surprises here, it looks exactly the same way compared to MK11 Skarlet fatal blow. And it has the same properties. First, it cannot be cast from distance, you have to be exactly next to the enemy, otherwise you're going to lose 3 bars of power and you're going to deal 0 damage. And of course, the fatal blow has bleed as debuff, which is kind of disappointing, but still something. When it comes to damage, the damage of the fatal blow is 117,916, which is the 18th highest in MK Mobile. Once again, the fatal blow has bleed as debuff and it cannot be cast from distance. So for her fatal blow, Assassin Skarlet gets 1.5 out of 4 possible points, and the total amount of points she gets for her special attacks adds up to 21.6 out of 36 possible. It was quite hard for me to decide how many points to give to Assassin Skarlet basic attacks, guys, because, let's face it, she's pretty good if you give her block breaking gear, especially her Vial of Infinite Blood, but at the same time I feel she's pretty terrible when left alone and without any block breaking gear. She can be easily killed. I hope it is not just me, guys, but if you don't give her any block breaking equipment, she's close to helpless, she doesn't push opponents back, her chaining is terrible, and her recovery speed is pretty slow, which always leaves her vulnerable for counterattack. And the best thing you can do is block, and that's the best thing you can do. You cannot really hope to start another combo ender because the enemy will hit you first, and that happens almost every single time. I don't know what to say here, guys. I believe that MK11 Skarlet's basic attacks are slightly better than Assassin Skarlet's basic attacks, but probably I'm wrong, I don't know. I don't have that much experience with Assassin Skarlet, but from the 50-ish games I had with her, I would say that once she has block breaker gear, she is perfectly fine, you have 0 issues with her, but if she doesn't, then you are in a big trouble. So in the end, I decided to give her 7.5 out of 10 possible points for her basic attacks. The passive of Assassin Skarlet, guys, is called Blood Letter, and here it is what it does. I quote: "At the start of the match, Assassin Skarlet applies bleed to all opponents for 15 seconds. While Skarlet is active, she steals 1.66% of a bleeding opponent's power every second. Assassin characters have 30% lethal blow chance against opponents who have less than 50% health. And of course, Assassins do 10% more damage versus Circle of Shadow." So let us start with the 15-second bleeding. Now, you can literally replace the 15-second bleed in her passive by just saying that she removes, let's say, 20% of the current health of the starting enemies, and that will be true, because if you apply bleed to all 3 characters on the enemy team for 15 seconds, that's a lot of damage. Now, granted, let's say 1 or 2 of them may have resistance, and they may resist the bleed, that's true, but still, if they don't, then they're going to lose a lot of hit points. In addition, if you really want to take advantage of the first part of her passive, consider teaming her up with Ravenous Melina and MK11 Scorpion. This is the ultimate damage overtime team in MK Mobile. This team just kick ass. And when it comes to the power stealing, I'm a little bit disappointed there. I fully admit that it works, even though it's not really great, but it steals something and you get some power, which is always beneficial. But the thing is, it only works if the enemy has power. If the enemy doesn't have power, then it won't do anything. And even if the enemy has power, you have to rely on the enemy not using it, so that means you have to keep hitting him over and over again, and you have to keep using your special attacks. So I'm not saying that it is bad, I'm not saying that it's useless, I am saying it is useful, but it's not a game changer. It can be helpful, but nothing more. And we got to the third part of her passive. This is my favorite, the 30% lethal blow chance, which is applied to characters below 50% health, and of course it only works for assassin characters. This is the first negative part, it only works for 2 more characters. Of course, if you count Assassin Skarlet, then 3 characters in total. And we have to keep in mind that, for example, Circle Shadow Liu Kang has bigger lethal chance for the entire match, regardless of the hit points of the enemy. Now, we have to keep in mind that Circle Shadow Liu Kang has this chance only in Faction Wars, while Skarlet has, and of course all her assassin teammates will have the chance everywhere, which means that you can use her passive against bosses, which is really helpful. However, in big majority of cases in Faction Wars, if the enemy is below 50% health, you don't really care about lethal blow chance because you can kill your enemy by simply using Special 1 of Jade. That would be enough. So again, it is helpful, but it's not a game changer. It's not something wow, if you get what I mean. So if I have to summarize it, Assassin Skarlet passive is good, but it's not really great. It is not a game changer. It is helpful. It can be extremely fun, especially if you team her up with Scorpion and Melina. But once again, it is not something amazing. However, I still regard it as slightly better than MK11 Skarlet's passive because it is more versatile when it comes to team compositions. And that's why I decided to give her 17.7 out of 20 possible points. She is just an outward character, so she gets 1 point for classes and 0 points for targeting attack. Okay guys, we got to the final verdict. Now, what do I think of Skarlet apart from the fact that she obviously looks like a well-paid porn star, but there must be something else about her. Now, she has decent stats for a diamond character, her special attacks are okay, even though I hate the fact that her special one is not lethal. Her passive is okay again, it is not great, but it's not definitely bad, it is still serviceable. And her basic attacks are pretty good if she has block breaker and pretty terrible if she doesn't have one, so always give her a block breaking gear. So if you're asking me what do I think of this character, what is my personal opinion? And my personal opinion won't be that great guys, I'm sorry. I hate her special 2 so much that I don't want to play her at all. But this is just me, still I prefer MK11 Skarlet and the Rain of Blood, which is amazing. And speaking of MK11 Skarlet, by the way, you can currently see a short comparison between the two, so that you can get an idea which one is better, of course, stats wise. So I'm sorry to all Skarlet fans, I'll be giving her just 1 out of my 3 subjective points, and I'll be giving her 1 point only because she fits perfectly in the Melina Scorpion team. It is just amazing. And with 1 subjective point, she is going to score 70.3 out of 102 possible points, and we can label her as a great character. In fact, she ranks 21st on our standings, and she is tied with Cosplay Jackie. She is just above Triborg Smoke and just below Elder God Kenshi. Unfortunately for her though, she ranks lowest among all assassins in the game, but it is what it is guys. Anyways, Assassin Skarlet, final verdict, great character. So, is Assassin Skarlet a good opener? This is a hard question to answer, because her special one plainly sucks, it doesn't deal that much damage, and even if it does, it is not lethal. But still, if you insist on using her as a starter, I believe she will do fine. If you ask me whether I would use her, I would say rather no, especially if I am using her in an assassin team. I always put Assassin Jade as my opener, unless of course my Assassin Skarlet is very low fusion, and then I don't really care if I lose her or not. When it comes to the best matches and worst matches, sadly guys, but Assassin Skarlet is pretty bad against Assassin Jade, because Assassin Jade can evade all of her combo enders and her special attacks, and of course she's pretty bad against MK11 Jade. Not only MK11 Jade can evade her basic attacks, but MK11 Jade can heal on her bleed, and Assassin Skarlet doesn't really like that. And of course, another kind of difficult matchup, I'm saying kind of because Dark Raiden has terribly low stats, but still he can heal on her bleed in the beginning of the game. And of course you shouldn't forget Piercing Melina, because every time when you have Assassin Skarlet in your team, in the beginning of the game you'll be giving piercing Melina a free bar of starting power. When it comes to the good matchups, of course you have to keep in mind that she will be good always against Circle of Shadow team because of the fact that assassins deal more damage to Circle of Shadow, but apart from that I cannot really tell which are her most convenient matches. I believe she can be good against anybody depending on your playstyle. And we got to the items, guys. Now, if you're using Assassin Skarlet as your main damage dealer in the Assassin team, then give her Rathammer or Cory Blade. Each one of those will do perfectly fine with her. And if you have Cory Blade maxed out, then definitely go for Cory Blade. As an armor, you have to give her either Shao Kahn Helmet or Living Dead. As an accessory, you give her always Vial of Infinite Blood. It is really good for her. And as a fourth item, it all depends on your playstyle. I usually give her something to reduce the power cost of Special 2, for example, Soul Medallion. Okay guys, we got to the teams. Now this is my favorite part of the review because I really have my favorite Assassin Skarlet team. This is the reason why I wanted to get her despite her ugly Special 2, and this is the reason why I'm happy to have her now at Fusion 5, even though I don't really use her out of this team. So the team in question is MK11 Scorpion, Ravenous Melina Assassin Skarlet. So all you have to do is put Assassin Skarlet as the opener, give her Blaze's Life Horse, and any other item that gives additional chance to inflict bleed or any other debuff in the beginning of the match. Then as soon as the match starts, you have to tag out Skarlet and tag in Scorpion, and from there on the match is basically won, unless you are facing classic Liu Kang, which is kind of unfortunate, but even if you do, you can still win because the other two guys will be probably dead. So you have to deal only with classic Liu Kang. And of course, I'll be Captain Obvious here, and I'm going to tell you, guys, you have to use Assassin Skarlet in an Assassin team. There she works pretty good. And of course, you can always use her with two other Outworlders, of course, and with other characters that rely on bleed, such as, for example, Vampiress Melina. Even though I don't recommend it, I'd rather use her in a team with two Outworld characters. Okay guys, Assassin Skarlet, what do you think of her? Do you like her? Do you dislike her? Please let me know in the comments. Once again, she scored 70.3 and she barely crossed the border, but yet we labeled her as a great character. As usual guys, if you want to see more reviews, you can find the playlist on the top right corner of the screen, and if you want to know which is the next on-demand review coming in next week, you can find the list in the description of the video. See you next time guys. Take care.
My blade thirsts.
Well done.